Two of my favorite places to go underwater are inside of shipwrecks and underwater caves. I get a lot of questions about the difference between those two environments and specifically what training is required and what overlap is there in the training between those two. Now, both caves and shipwrecks are overhead environments, right? We have something over top of us, we can't go direct to the surface. So there is a lot of overlap in the skills, in the equipment, and the procedures that we have in both of them. But there are two separate training curriculums and two resulting certifications. So I've identified four things that separate these environments. First up is that ships are man-made. So a person designed the layout of that ship. We should have predictable elements, like hallways with rooms to the sides, stairwells, hatches, and ladders to go between decks, things like that we don't have in the overhead environment in a cave. Wrecks, especially the ones in the ocean, are a much more dynamic environment. We have rusty metal, a constant state of degradation, currents, and things like that. So second is restrictions. A restriction is a place where two divers cannot pass side by side. And we encounter those a lot in shipwrecks because our hallways, hatches, and doorways were designed for single file travel. So it's much more common in wreck diving to be going sideways, upside down, or even feet first through some restrictions than it is in cave diving. Third, we have the distance of penetration. At the full cave level, we're talking about distances over 1,000 feet from the entrance. And we don't have that in most shipwrecks. So the average cave dive is going to be much further from the entrance than the average wreck dive. Last up is lines. In cave diving, we have our 5 rules from accident analysis, and one of those rules is have a continuous guideline to the surface. The line is our gospel for navigation inside of a cave, and we rely on that line to get us out in case that we lose visibility. Lines are a great idea when inside of a shipwreck as well, but they're not our only tool like they are in a cave. It's not a good idea to just tie a reel in and blindly unspool it into the wreck. We've got other navigational data that we can collect to help us in the event that we lose visibility or have an issue. The classic cave diver faux pas is assuming that they're a one-for-one environment. I remember very early on after I became a certified cave diver of just tying in my reel and unspooling it into the wreck and getting nowhere and being pretty frustrated with it and wasting a lot of bottom time. And later on, I ended up taking an advanced wreck course and I realized I was being really ineffective, but also I wasn't using all the tools that I could have in that risk mitigation toolbox when it comes to wreck diving. And I think that there's a big benefit in the advanced wreck program for cave divers, even experienced cave divers, to really learn the differences and hone in those skills. The big takeaway here is that changing environment might change the tools or the procedures that you apply in that environment. And it's important to be open-minded to make sure that you've got all the tools that you need in your risk mitigation toolbox. So reach out to me if you're interested in learning more about wreck diving or cave diving, and thank you for watching.